What's up, fellow collectors, and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to assemble a DF60. Hang on. Didn't I already show you how to do that? Yeah, you're not wrong. I have. Part of this, well, my first main setup here, I did assemble one of these. This is a DF60 right here. This cube. That was years ago. And Moducase has not only redesigned their Moducases slightly, but they ship them a little bit differently. And I've never really focused solely on just the DF60. So I'm going to show you how to assemble the new one. We're going to put a bunch of collectibles in there, check out what fits, and I'm actually going to do something you've all requested a fair bit of, but more about that soon. So DF60 shows up just like this, plain simple shipper box. We're going to open it up and get to it. DF60 out of the box looking just like this. First thing that's different from my original first assembly of a DF60, the front frame already assembled for me, which I love. In my previous DF60 assembly, the front panel, which is this one here, the magnets, these bars came separate. They didn't actually come together. And you had to be careful when you were assembling them to make sure that the magnets were facing the right direction. Now you don't have to do that anymore, so that's one less step for us collectors. This here is the bottom, just felt wrapped. You can see same thing as the bottom of these ones there. And then we got our, everything is labeled. So this is the top panel. That over there is the back panel. These are the bars that will form the case itself. Front panel here is wrapped. You can tell because it's got the magnet there. And those are the side acrylics. You'll get a goodie bag right here full of all the equipment, the tools. Interesting, and I'll be honest, I very quickly checked something out without videotaping it, because when I opened it, I noticed I got these washers. I've never gotten these washers before, and that's because they're not pre-installed. Normally, Moducase comes with the screw and the washer pre-installed on this. So this is the first time in my many videos on Moducase that this has happened. So I'm kind of glad it did. I can help you guys out. And I mean many cases, like I zoom over here. I mean, I've got Moducases, coming at me left, right, and center. So first time this has happened. Anyway, no sweat. It's nothing that we can't get through pretty quick. Let's get on to the assembly. We're going to start by opening all of these rails. And they're all labeled to help you out. Okay, so super simple. Washer onto the screw, right around the rails, that hole right there. Now we're not going to use the tool because I just want to make this a little bit protruding because we're going to need that. And you're always going to want to remember to make sure that this washer stays at the head of that screw. I've gone ahead and done these to all the rails except for what I'm going to call a double rail. And for obvious reasons, you can see, double part. Here's a single part. Single, double. Do not put any of those screws in any of these double rails. They're not needed. All right. Let's start the full assembly here. All right, so the front frame is pre-installed like we talked about a little bit earlier. What we're going to do is just go along the edges, and I want to make sure that all these screws that are already pre-installed for us are secure and that the whole frame is level. It actually looks really good. I don't think I need to do anything with this. Yeah, that's really good. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm very quickly just rotating this around, making sure that it is secure. And yeah, this is awesome. It's probably one of the best frames that I've gotten right out of the box. So it's very important to make sure it's all level, which Moducase has already done. That's awesome. So this front frame also does not get any of these screws here, mainly because nothing really attaches to this side with one of those screws. Everything that you need is already in these rails here. Okay, you're gonna get 4 of these rails. These rails have these little acrylic holders inside them. You can kind of see it glistening there. If I was to rotate this, you'll notice that it doesn't have it on any other side. It only has it on this one side. It's right here. This is going to be facing, like if this was the cabinet, it faces down this way and holds the acrylic in place. The screw, very important. Always make sure when your screw goes into your rail that the washer, yeah, you want to make sure that that washer there, always at the head of the screw. Just give you guys a close-up look. I'm gonna grab this rail. I always call this the back rail, the double rail, because it's, you know, got 2 rails. This only has 1. And with this hole in the back, so that's the very back of your cabinet, with that washer right at the tip, slide that in. So essentially the view looks like this. That washer at the height of the screw, slid in the rail like that, and I'm gonna fasten that in. And I'm gonna do that again with the acrylic part here, facing down. I'm gonna go ahead and fasten that in there now. Included Allen key in the back hole here. Locate the screw, which essentially looks like this. And screw it in. And always make sure that the rails are flush. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems, especially if you are stacking these. So again, Allen key goes in like that. Maneuver the rail a little bit. A lot of times I will just like very lightly assemble these and then tighten them up at the very end just to make sure everything is going smoothly. Just like that. So I need to turn this around now and do the exact same thing to this side here. Again, the acrylic facing down into the back rail, washer at the head of the screw, slot that in. Allen key all the way through and tighten. Now, there are 2 different ways to assemble. Actually, there's a lot of different ways to assemble this thing, and I've done it this way almost every time. Where I now have essentially this frame here, and I would just take the acrylic and slot it in. You could actually do it in another way where before you put this one on, you can put the acrylic in and then place this on top. And you know what? I've actually never assembled it that way before. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble it that way for you guys now, just so you can see a different version of how to assemble this than you're used to seeing me do. So I'm gonna remove this top rail now. Okay, so just for the sake of doing something different for once, I'm going to assemble it this way. Now what I did, I took the acrylic and I just lightly peeled off the edges. This is going to help make sure that I don't put any fingerprints on the middle. It'll be a lot easier to wipe it off. So, make sure it's the right orientation. Put the acrylic in that acrylic holder on the bottom. Give it a light bit of pressure and pop it in. And normally, again, I put both sides on it and I just slide it down on the side. Maybe I'll do it one on each way actually and show you how I do it both ways. Alright, so that acrylic is essentially in. So then we are going to grab the outer rail, place, again, the acrylic down, place that rail, watching the washer as always. we want to make sure that slots in to the acrylic. Okay. Allen key go in, and let's tighten that up. Of putting the acrylic in the side of a Moducase. Let's try it the other way that I normally do. And this is the way I always have done the side acrylic. So, side rails are in to the back rail. Acrylic holders facing inward. Put here so I don't knock it over. And I'm going to slot that acrylic into the little holder there. And push down lightly. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of resistance, sometimes you won't. Each case I find is a little differently. And make sure it's into the rail on the bottom. And there we go. That's two different ways to assemble the side of your Moducase. So, all right, well, both sides are prepared. We're gonna go ahead and grab the top and bottom back bar. And I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna use my left to do this. And I'm just gonna screw that in. Now, this is going into the very back part of the double rail back bar. Just like that, that's perfect. That's flush, tighten. This, washer to the top, and in. All right, taking what we've done now, let's flip this. Very careful. Now, we're going to put in the back of the display case. Now, first time Moducase has ever done this, they've sent a white side and a dark side. So it's essentially up to you which color you want the back of your display to be. I'm going to go with black because all my other ones are black. So this is essentially the top panel. And then we have the double-sided back panel. Now, the back panel is going here. So locate the cuts. This will actually end up being the bottom of your display case usually, because you can hide these cuts here with the base plate, and that's where you're going to run the wires for the lighting. So take this, slide it into the very back rails, slide it down, fit it inside that rail on the bottom. Voila. Perfect. Then grab the other back rail on top. Now, when you're putting this one in, make sure that it fits into that board. Locate the screw, tight. Flush. Perfect. So this is actually been the deciding moment of what is the top and bottom part of my display case. This is the back. Now this is the bottom because of these holes, which means this is the top. So you can either slide it in like this, or I guess for your purposes, for your view purposes, we're going to turn this on its back. Okay. And again, I'm choosing black. So locate the cuts, because these cuts have to go into the back. And one side. And then make sure that slots into the bottom part as well. All right. There we go. Now, we are going to grab the front faceplate. So first thing I want to do when we're going to do this is back these guys off considerably. So all these screws, you're going to want the room to work with. All right, so the rail, line it up. One, two, let it slide down. Usually makes a lovely sound. When you do finally get the front panel slid all the way through, tighten up all the screws. When you tighten up this one, make sure you watch this board as it fits inside this rail. As you're tightening, if you feel a little bit of resistance, it's a good chance it's the board just not sitting inside the rail the way it should. And I like to, at this point, just do a little bit of tightening on each end, just to slowly bring it all together. And again, you're making sure it's all as flush as possible. If you're not stacking these things, probably not as big of a deal to be quite as precise, but 99% of the people buying these are stacking them. Okay. This is where you can do like your final check. All screws are tight, flush. Yeah, they're good. All right. Now, your base plate. This is beautiful, actually. They're really nicely done. You will, once again, pay attention to the cuts. The one that's got the longest cut, that's the one that goes in the back. So, take your baseboard, slide it diagonally. Voila. Your front cover. It's got a little tiny, sometimes it's hard to notice, little indent there. That's where the screw can go in to this part here, if you so desire. But if you just want to trust the magnets, place it on the lip, give it a little push, and that is your display case. You can go ahead and take all the wrappings off it if you want to, and we are essentially done with this assembly. Normally I would do the lighting. I'm going to do that separately for this one because a lot of you have asked to see the difference between spotlights and LED strip lights. And in the next video, I'm going to do that for you. So you're going to see this display case with 2 different types of lighting, different types of collectibles, so you'll get to see pretty much all your choices before you make your purchase. Thanks for watching this video of the assembly of Moducase's DF60. I'm the collector, and happy collecting.